Now, given their injury problems, should Tottenham Hotspur have signed more players in the January transfer window? Technical director Johan Langer says the right players weren't available, but has revealed fans can expect something different later this year.
We will go into the summer window with big ambitions of strengthening the team. We know there'll be more movements. We know there'll be more opportunities. So the plans are already, can you see, drawn up. We have a clear picture of which position and also which profiles. And could we have brought one or two more in this January window, we would have been delighted to do so. But that was not a possibility.
Right, OK, so Johan Langer talking there. Michael, he says that the right players weren't available in January. It does seem that Spurs are short right now. Should they have brought some players in to help out Thomas Frank?
So Thomas Frank said to me last Friday that they tried everything they could to get Antoine Semenyo. Well, he's obviously gone to Manchester City and doing ever so well. The other player we know that Tottenham wanted to bring in as well was Andy Robertson. They thought that was all but done. Robertson was looking forward to join in, to add a bit of leadership. First team player ahead of the World Cup. Then on the slot, and Liverpool changed their minds, couldn't get Tsimikas back, so that didn't happen. Now, Spurs fans wanted more. They are disappointed. There are a number of injuries. Christian Romero, obviously, that Instagram post about 11 fit players. To give it balance, there was 15 available against Manchester City on Sunday. My worry for Tottenham is that, Dominic Solanke coming back could be massive. And we've already seen him score 2 goals against City, one a Puskas Award winner potentially already, but he could get injured again. It's very likely that it could happen. That's the way it is. Dominic Solanke, he felt his ankle on Sunday, for example, and there isn't much off the bench. And there's going to be more injuries. And the concern as well is that you've got your Mo Kudus not back till April. Bergvall out for nearly the whole season. Bentancur out for nearly the whole season. Kulusevski, no sign of returning. James Maddison, who's working so hard to get back, but he had an ACL. So you're going to have to pretty much all but rule him out. So they look short. So it is a risk they've taken, but they have said, my understanding is they're going to go all out in the summer, which is good to hear, but this is a very important season now.
Remind us what they did do in January, though. Conor Gallagher was one of them.
And Sousa, who's a Brazilian left-back, look, he's 19. It's a lot to ask someone to come into the Premier League at 19. So I'm not so sure how much he'll feature. Conor Gallagher, for me, if he's fit, he'll start every game for me.
Very quickly, Charlie, how surprised were you that Spurs didn't do more in January?
I say surprised because obviously they're short, but it's be interesting to see what they wanted to achieve overall this season. Because it's all right saying that you want to do something in the summer, but it's what they actually want to achieve.
OK, let's speak to a Tottenham Hotspur fan, Chris Cowlin now. Chris, yesterday we were speaking to, or might be the day before, we were speaking to a Tottenham fan who wasn't particularly happy at your lack of incomings in January. What did you think?
Tom, Charlie, Michael, good morning to you. Thanks for having me on. I think it's deeply frustrating, again, that we are in this position. We're 14th in the Premier League table. We're 3 points above 17th, where, of course, we finished last season under Ange Postecoglou. And Spurs need real quality, real impact players right now. I completely agree with everything Michael said there. He gets it. He's a Spurs fan, and we've been outside the Tottenham Hotspur stadium many times, talking about the same subject, talking about the same transfer window policy again and again and again, and it simply isn't good enough. What is the aim this season? Is it to finish in a European spot, like Charlie said? What is the aim this season? Because if we want to finish in a European spot and somehow make this season into a positive one, finishing a European spot would be exactly that. And I feel like 1 or 2 additions. I get the fact that Johan Langer said that only 33 deals were done in the Premier League over this transfer window, but Spurs needed to pull something out of the bag. And, how many times, particularly with you, Michael, how many times have we heard Spurs say it's always about the next window? Vinod Venkatesham, in the statement a couple of weeks ago in the Matchday programme, said we must add more quality, experience and leadership. And he's also said we know that words carry little weight without action. The Spurs fan base, again, are deeply frustrated. Some fans are even calling us We Tried FC rather than Tottenham Hotspur. And Spurs are meant to be about daring and doing. And at the moment, it doesn't feel like Spurs are doing much daring or doing. Yes, we've been linked to players like Gibbs-White, Eze, Semenyo, Mark Gay. We're going, down the right track with these types of players and these types of signings, but we're not getting them over the line.
But Chris, on that, you name them players, right, and they've obviously chose other clubs. They've chose other clubs because their deals wouldn't set out for them. But we talk about the summer window, but Spurs may not be an attractive football club to go, like, unless the project is to really kick on over the years. But if we're talking about here and now and the season don't finish very well, what players are you going to attract if you haven't got European football?
Charlie, look, I've said on this show many, many times, the last player, in my opinion, that we brought in that was a world-class player, a real impact player, was back in 1994 when Jurgen Klinsmann walked through the door. Yes, we've had some very good signings. Yes, we've had some very good players. We've had some good players that we have turned into great players. But Spurs need to up the level. We need to start doing, as I said, daring and doing. Spurs are meant to be one of the top clubs in England, and we need to show that on the pitch. I go back to 2019 of Maurizio Pochettino saying, we've got this great mansion, you need to put the furniture in it. And in my opinion, nothing has changed. Every single time a top player has left the football club, we have brought in a player of less quality. We have never, ever upgraded, and that is the real issue.
Michael, no one since 1994 to be an impactful signing like that?
Well, I mean, look, you had Ginola in '97, didn't you? I mean, he had some great years. Under Harry Redknapp, Van der Vaart. I know what you're saying, Chris. I think, my son's got the Spurs calendar, and it's the first time I look at it. There's no real sort of standout stars, and I think that's what you're alluding to, Chris, aren't you? Like Tottenham always had a standout star. It's look, it's all. We talk about the summer, but I think the concern you're having and Tottenham fans are having is potentially the now, and it's possibly a when, not if, the likes of Dom Solanke get injured again.
Michael, the thing is, look at the Spurs squad right now. What is the aim for this season? What is the aim for next season? If you'd have said to me at that parade that we'd be 24 games into this season, and we'd be sitting 14th, 3 points above the position we finished last season, I would never have believed it, because I would have hoped that we would have showed ambition in that summer transfer window and done a lot more. Spurs want to be competing on all fronts. We know that we need depth. We know that depth is not good enough. We know that we need more players through the door. Romero is increasingly being frustrated. Van de Ven looks frustrated at the moment. These guys want to win at Tottenham. They love the football club. They want to win. So they are asking the questions right now. What players are we bringing in? What are we doing? What is for the future? And, what is the ambition? And, of course, we don't know whether, there's been so many changes at the football club as well. Daniel Levy's shares, are they going to be sold? He's 29.4% shares. Are they going to be sold? Is more change going to be happening at the football club? But as you mentioned earlier, Michael, about the injuries, it's good that Spurs have addressed that again. They've brought in a new physio in the last couple of days, because this injury crisis and record, certainly recently has been absolutely atrocious.
Do you think they will get it right in the summer?
I think they have to, Tom, because the fans are becoming increasingly frustrated. There are groups protesting on a constant basis, and people have just had enough. There's been a lot of frustration aimed at the manager this season, but I feel like that frustration now is turning onto the board as well.
Right. I know you don't like doing this, but look at Arsenal, for example, right? Now, Mikel Arteta started again. There's a picture, there's a team photo of Arsenal where Mikel Arteta is the only one in colour. He made big decisions. Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, big names, gone, right? He started again, and I'm sorry, I know that Spurs fans don't like hearing it. Arsenal's recruitment, yes, they've spent money, but they've spent it well. It's irrelevant what they've spent it well.
Yeah.
Would you be prepared to sort of say, let's start again? And do they have the people to do that, in your view?
Well, look, there's been a lot of change, Michael, as you know. There's been a lot of change, on the pitch, off the pitch, in the dugout, at board level. There's been so many changes. We just want to see, as Spurs fans, right decisions being made. I could sit here all day and talk about poor decisions that have been made at board level in the last years, particularly moving in at the stadium. We've gone through 6 different managers, 6 permanent managers since we moved in that stadium, 3 interim appointments as well. So we have gone round in circles. But winning that Europa League in May was meant to be the springboard. You look at Manchester United, who we played, you would have thought that they had won the Europa League. But, going back to your Arsenal comments, I feel like the Spurs fan base have been extremely patient, particularly when it comes to transfer windows. And we are told quite often the next one. It's about the next transfer window all the time. It's about the now. What is the ambition for this season? I just feel like Thomas Frank has been given like a bit of a free pass this season, if I'm completely honest, because the amount of times he's come out and said we finished 17th last year, it's like if we finish 16th or above, then it's a bonus. But you've got to remember we won the Europa League last year as well.
I think I'm going to ring you Afe. I think you've stolen the Europa League there. If I'm looking at the picture of you there.
Michael, I'm just hoping that I can replace it within 17 years with another replica trophy sitting next to me here.
No, I doubt it, Chris.
Maybe even a Champions League.
Steady on, steady on.
They're still in it. You've got to be in it to win it.
Absolutely.
They're still in it. Chris, thank you.
You got a dream. You got a dream.
Right, Chelsea were criticised for their approach to their Carabao Cup semi-final at Arsenal, but didn't work for Newcastle either against Manchester City. So what would the right approach have been? That's next.